tidings to you. Remember, this ain't no charity run. You owe me. Cast off!
Despite your best efforts, Beast Slayer, a splinter of hope remains. The very seed that brought my beast into existence. The Dark Ember. Never again shall it birth a life so magnificent as the beast. Yet a residue of that power still lingers. Enough to give us a fighting chance against the ravenous Kitava. How do we obtain this Dark Ember? 3 hearts were silenced. 3 hearts. If she is to be of any use to us, the Umbra's spirit must be wrenched from her mortal manifestation and lashed to our greater cause. That is your task. For my part, I shall negotiate the terms of her cooperation. With a tragic kiss and lasting embrace, her essence shall pass into me as if she were a sweet breath from the mouth of my lover. It is a sacrosanct sacrifice for all involved. Thankfully for you, all I ask is that you do what you clearly do best. Kill. Ambition is the bane of mortality. It was through ambition that we gods transcended the thick mud and thin blood of our mundane birthrights. Ambition that drove us to sustain our divine selves through the subjugation of others. Chevron's soul is made up of 1 part ambition and 2 parts raw, unbounded passion. Such a volatile spark shall burn briefly and brightly, and even the most deadened of hearts. I shall put this simply, for in truth, everything comes down to the simple act of planting a seed in the ground. The gods are rising because you slew the one creature that prevented them from doing so. Your name for it is the Beast. It was I who planted the seed in the rich soil beneath Highgate, who nurtured it, who watched it bloom into maturity, even as I succumbed to its mollifying powers. We gods, we were driven into slumbering darkness, to dream away eternity whilst the gentle beast watched over us. I would desire that we return to that blissful state, but my brothers and sisters of deism shall never submit to banishment. They have tasted freedom once more, and they shall not let go of this world until it is pried from their cold, dead hands. The beast was never a cruel master. It didn't want to destroy, to corrupt, to terrorize. It simply existed to exist. I made it that way. Unfortunately, in neglecting to provide it with ambition, I made it vulnerable to the ambitions of others. Queen Atziri and Doriani, Emperor Chittus and Malachi. Others even before them. I created a beast that would free humanity from the tyranny of the gods. Yet all I really did was provide the perfect tool with which humanity... Remember, humanity needs us.
All right, we're safe for the time being. Now let me introduce myself properly. Lily Roth. Yep, I'm one of those Roths. Some call me Smuggler, Others pirate. Yeah, I prefer the sound of nautical entrepreneur. Came up with that one myself. So you come see Lily if you need something, or even if you just fancy a good chat with a lovely lady. Don't think I'd be forgetting that favour you owe to me. In fact, now I think of it, there's certainly a way you can be repaying this most considerable debt. You see, those blasted cultists have been plundering the refugee ships trying to escape Oriath. And if not for my incomparable skill as a sea captain, we'd have met the same fate. But now the drowned dead are washing ashore, and they ain't staying dead. There's been a whole lot of blood, sweat and tears getting these few lucky survivors here in one piece. What sort of captain would I be if I let them get ripped apart by walking corpses? Wipe the Twilight Strand clean of those filthy undead bastards and I'll call us even. Might even throw in a little something extra if you can pull it off. Waylon Roth. Here, let me share something I remember from my granddaddy's stories. No sooner had the others turned in fear from the great white Leviathan did Waylon load the ballista with his final harpoon. And right then he vowed to sea and sky that he and he alone would be the one to finally kill this bastard son of the Brine King. The ballista fired and the harpoon smote that creature right between the ribs as it made to dive back under the angry sea. Thick clouds of blood bloomed beneath the waves, roses flowering in the black water, and impossible though it seemed, the already shadowed ocean grew darker still. He used the bones of the great beast to reinforce the hull of his ship, the Black Crest. Old Rottooth, he's a true legend, a real pirate hero. I can only hope one day my own stories will reach his ears and make him proud of the granddaughter he had to leave behind. Yeah, I knew Tarkley, if you catch me drift. He's got no time for his old bunkmate these days, though. Too gaga-eyed over his lost cause of a fishwife Nessa. Time was, Tarkley and I would smuggle all about the coast of Oriath. Good days they was. Sweet with rum, nothing but the wind and salt in our faces, freedom in our hearts, and a law on our tails. But I could tell he were getting ready to make feet for children's stockings with me, so I cut him loose. Not a spark's chance under the ocean the dreaded Lily Roth's gonna wind up swelling like some drowned carcass. Still, nice to work with that bugger one more time, just for old time's sake, you know? That scallywag. I reckon Bestel thinks I'd be the kind of lass who'll bed down with any sort of rascal. Not too far off, I guess. He is rather sweet, but not the most comely of figures. Actually, he kind of reminds me of my grandfather, Waylon Roth, a poet and scoundrel extraordinaire he be. Bestel's but spittle from the mouth of old Rottooth Roth. Ahem. Bust my blind cheek, said the sailor to the doxy. She sports her dairy treats afar and relishes her moxie. But a fire ship will sink the broken neath the ocean waves. Tip nutmegs a deadly token, sends captains to their graves. Time and tide wait for no man.
Now there's a pair of eyes I could never forget. If the tales are true, those peepers of yours have seen all the wonders of Рэklasta by now, and a few things they likely wish they hadn't. Oh, and no need for us to speak of Oriath. My ears are brimful with the sorrows these wretched companions of yours have been spilling. Now, I'm sure you've noticed that Lion Ice Watch has seen better days. Our once bubbling township has, alas, become a brooding quagmire of gloom and despair. I blame the unrelenting weather. As you know, I am both a humanitarian and a strong believer in the soul-sustaining power of story. Back when I was still captain of the Merry Gull, many days at sea afforded me time to work on my thespian aspirations. I wrote a theatrical epic, A one-man show entitled Cedric and the Buxom Stranger. I sealed the manuscript inside a roll of oiled leather and stashed it in the hold for safekeeping. Perhaps you could salvage it for me from that tidal island upon which my poor ship came to rest. Who knows? Maybe we can bring some joy back to Lion Eye's Watch with a bit of live entertainment. Now there's a sorry tale. More miserable than any dirge I've ever heard. Nessa's gone. Wandered off into the night, muttering to herself about dancing to his ditty. No, I didn't go after her. In truth, she was gone when I woke up the next morning. I only imagined she'd be muttering, you see, on account of the murmuring she's been making these past few weeks. Always the same. About him and his song, whoever in damnation he is. Lily Roth, granddaughter of the legendary Rottooth Roth. Oh, apologies if I seem a little giddy. It's not any old day you get to meet marine royalty. I mean, you know how I feel about pirates and all, but the Roths have as much in common with those scurvy sea rats as a shark does with a goldfish. Lily has her granddaddy's blood in her veins. It's plain for all to see. Look at the luster in her eyes, the ruddy blush of her skin. That there's a pirate princess, and no mistake. Yes, we live in curious times indeed. A time when old stories are being birthed, mewling and puking into our world of dirt and blood. It's all a bit inspiring, really. Hence, I've written a little something. Ancient anecdotes now wake from their beds, looming in our fears, towering above our heads. Age-old lusts and bygone greeds, walking and reeking as... You won't find a sailor that doesn't whisper a quiet prayer to the Brine King before casting off. In fact, under the maddening radiance of a full moon, the more superstitious captains would drown some poor slave or failed mutineer just to keep old Tsoagoth happy. No, that wasn't a sneeze. That's the fish god's old Asmerian name. It's considered foul luck to speak it on board a ship. A keel-hauling offence. You'll not find a more renowned pirate as Wayland Rocktooth Roth. In times when Fairgraves was still a whelp earning his sea legs, Rocktooth was prowling the Strait of Orioth in his ship, the Black Crest. It's said he built it himself, lining its hull with the bones of some great sea beast he slew with nothing but a harpoon and a bottle of rum. Never was there a more nimble, more ferocious vessel. Like that Leviathan spirit still lived and breathed in its timbers. No one sighted Rocktooth for 20 years or more, but I know where the Black Crest is. The ship graveyard, no less. Seems that Wayland Roth might have had his last meal with Lady Mervale.
First we hear that Orioth has lost its bloody mind, and then you turn up. Doesn't take a scholar to work out how these two events might be connected. I don't know what's going on out there, and I probably wouldn't understand it if I saw it with my own two eyes. What I do know is this. The world we knew, it's gone. Now we have to do our damnedest to make sure we don't go with it. Nessa. I saw her one night, running out across the coast, headed in the direction of the mudflats. Called out to her, but she didn't even turn her head. Maybe she couldn't hear me. Maybe she didn't want to. I don't bloody know. I tried to run after her, but she'd vanished into the darkness before my feet had barely touched the sand. So I tracked her, all the way to the mudflats, and that's when her tracks, they just stopped. No sign of meeting someone or something, no sign of a struggle. It's like one moment she was running and the next, gone. Look, I've heard some things about what you've done. Things that beg a belief. Now you can do this. Please. Find Nessa. Bring her back to us. I wonder how much Lily squeezed out of those refugees from Oriath. Yes, she did risk her life and ship to save them. But I knew the Lily of old, a damn fine smuggler. And that Lily never did a good deed that didn't also turn a profit. I had a life before Lion Eye's watch. Not much of one by some people's standards, but it was good enough for me. Lily and I would smuggle a bit of booze to keep our purses full. We were good at it, too. Made us a fine partnership, her quick mind and my steady nerves, right up until the day she left me drunk and trussed on Penance Quay. By the time the blackguards unwrapped their present, she was halfway to Trathus. That's how I ended up here. Yes, it smarts a bit to look at her. But what right have I to say where the flotsam finally washes up? Never took much stock in the stories Lily told. Didn't sit right. Those full moon sacrifices her and her ilk would do out on the open water. But now, in light of everything, I'm obliged to reconsider. If it meant Nessa might be spared the attentions of that wretched Brine King, I'd even be inclined to slit a mutineering throat or two myself. Those shambling nobles out there on the strand? They left Oriath to die a bloody death, rats fleeing a sinking ship. Seems they learned a bit of the hard truth, though. Doesn't matter how much money you have, you can't outrun death when it comes for you. Can't say they've actually noticed, though. They're still the same flesh-eating bastards they've always been, just a bit more obvious about it now. Stay sharp out there.
Why, hello, stranger. I am Faustus, the captain of the fair Maryline. Consider me your access to the wealth of Рэklasta. There's not a single market I can't reach. You've got currency, they've got currency, and thus I shall be your most esteemed facilitator, for a small fee, of course. Awful business what happened to Oriath. Terrible, just terrible. I was lucky, safely out at sea with my crew. I hope those responsible are held. It's a gilded wonder.
Hello, Exile.
Carling of Murfield, you have transgressed against your god and your fellow man. You have been a willing vessel for the following sins. Civil envy, 1 count of defaming a church official. God has charged me with your redemption. You are hereby exiled to Рэklasta, where it is hoped you shall come to repent your sins and make your peace with your beloved father.
wretched sight. So many drowned Oriathans cast into undeath. You freed them from their torment, and I'm sure they'd be grateful. Here, that little something extra I were talking about. Though the sea takes away, it gives back in greater measure. While you be skulking about, I've managed to do a bit of hunting on my own. Got a hole full of baubles and trinkets here, which I managed to, procure. Take a look. You might find something particularly naughty to help you on your life's voyage. You have the look of a wayfarer about you. I've a few bits and bobs in the hold that I managed to salvage from Oriath. Might be you're in the market for a little insurance for the road. The sort of nautical charm or a quaff of tonic be providing. Go on, have a look-see. And if you're thinking to trade, I reckon we can come to a fair arrangement. Time and tide wait for no man.
Me.
Not right now.
Go to Hinekora.
cannot do this yet.
The submerged passage. It's underwater again, and there's no sign of those shells you used to drain it. Fortunately, there's another way to reach Axiom Prison and beyond. A path I scouted out myself, through what was once the fetid pool, and then along the ridge above it. Problem is, whatever's brought those Karui revenants to life has also sealed the pool entranceway, the bloody great totem. Stay sharp out there.
Yes? From here to the beast, the journey is long and arduous. You are strong for a mortal, yet the beating of this war drum shall burst your human heart. So we must fortify it with something a little more divine in nature. While a god may fall, their essence lingers, a quiet cacophony outside of your perception. That essence can be yours to galvanize your will and invigorate your body. I have the perfect first donor for us. Tukohama, the father of war. In a pool once foul and fetid, he has raised a fortress now ferocious and fearsome. Best you pay him a visit before he also raises that ugly son of his, and unleashes him upon what remains of Рэklasta. The Karui were a peaceful culture of farmers and fishermen, before fate thrust the great Tukohama upon them. It was he who put the stone axes in their hands, and the hunger for conquest in their bellies. Farmers quenched their dry fields in blood. Fishermen emptied their holds of fish and filled them with land-greedy hordes. Battle by battle, war by war, Tukohama carved the steps that would carry him up a mountain of severed heads and into immortality. Tukohama's axe is called anger, his spear is called greed, and the victims are the minds and hearts of all Karui. Remember, humanity needs us.
Marvelous. Oh, yes, yes, it's all here. Act 1, Scene 1. Along the shoreline, the beach grass sways. A blazing sun sinks 'neath sparkling waves. Oh, strange be the night when the drowned dead rise, and a pale moon ascends above cold skies. The stranger still is lost to me, those silken pillows upon which I lay at sea. Moody, atmospheric, not as funny as I remember, but I'm sure it gets better in Act 2. With Kitava now stomping around Orioth, it seems mythology is fast turning into reality. Then again, the gods didn't just spring out of some poet's head. I certainly couldn't pin a note to the god of eternally flowing ale, and then just stick me mug out to catch the free brew. No, I imagine the gods once dined, danced, and defecated just like you or I. Now they seem ready to take another stab at it. At life, I mean. Take the Karui father of war, for instance, old Tukahama, all comfortably tucked up in Kaum's holdfast, and playing war like a few thousand years was only a quiet weekend for him. Come to think of it, perhaps it was.
God of war reshaped. He's always been unmatched.
Fight them off while I handle this!
I cannot do this yet.
Dreamer, protect me! I nearly have it!
That Karui relic you're carrying looks bloody familiar. Yeah, I've seen its twin stuck in that totem guarding Tukahama's doorstep. If I were you, and in this case I'm glad I'm not, I'd see about putting that eye back where it belongs. It might do nothing at all, but it's at least worth a shot, I reckon. Stay sharp out there.
Come to hear your...
I cannot do this yet.
The fetid pool's lost its stink. Washed clean like the autumn rain that gives Theopolis its only decent bath for the year. And turns out, when you scrub away the fetid filth, there's a Karui fortress underneath. Probably built by King Kaum himself. Now home to, I don't even know what. Needless to say, I didn't get too close. But it looks like it's big, Karui, and right royally pissed off about something. Seems Tukahama's raised up a host out of whatever afterlife you Karui believe in. I feel for those poor bastards, if I'm to be honest. You Karui haven't had an easy history. Colonized, enslaved, used as pawns in many a war, and now abused in death by your own bloody god. This is why I don't follow any deity. They're all as bad as each other. Farewell.
This'll do.
teach you the laws of war.
Tukohama. The soil wants for your blood no more. I am sin, thief of virtue, and it is mine to take what I will from the defeated, to make a gift of it to the victorious. Alas, your mortal frame cannot withstand the unfettered fire of deism. It would turn your blood to mist and scorch your precious flesh black. So choose modestly and choose wisely, for there is much more at stake here than your little hopes and dreams. May humanity
Hello, Exile. Screams, howls and boos of unholy intonation. The shriek and clank of some unfathomable apparatus, and the pervading stench of scorched flesh and boiling blood. That's Exile prison, now that Our Lady of Umbra has come home to roost. As a poet, I have nothing against a little creativity. Yet while I might mould word and wonder, Chevron's art tends towards the visceral, flesh, bone, and soul. Artistic pursuit.
You've killed the Karui war god. Can you kill a god? Look, I can't even begin to understand what you've just done. Vestal will be able to put our gratitude into words more fitting of a legend. Me, I'll work with what I know. A solid reward for a damn fine deed. Axiom Prison has been fairly quiet since he saw fit to retire its warden. Afraid that's no longer the case. Chevron of Umbra, the very witch that made Brutus the man he was. I don't know if she's a ghost, a ghoul, or some other death-scorning creature I've never heard of, but she's up there, tinkering away with her black arts and twisting nature around her bony old fingers. Honestly, I don't care why she's come back, or what cruelty she's brewing up there. She's a boil that needs lancing before the infection spreads. Farewell.
I cannot do this yet.
Another good find.
I will slay every last one of you! Proof against the swarm! I nearly have it! Get them away from me! For Рэklasta!
I cannot do this yet.
Still working.
In the court of the goddess, every man and woman is deemed worthy of redemption. Though you might be shackled by the tribulations of the past, the trials ahead offer you both freedom and glory. The future is yours, if you're bold enough to reach out for it.
I cannot do this yet.
Belief is the strongest metal of them all.
Not you! On my life and my work, I shall not suffer this humiliation again! You are hideous!
This world is dull and ugly. An imperfect feast of sights, feelings, and smells that repulse and depress. Yet amongst this deformity I have found my sublime calling. This world may be abominable, but to an extent I can be its savior. I have been gifted with a special sight. Before me lies a blueprint of perfection, a kind of hidden beauty within skin, muscles, tendons, and organs. With a tempered hand and a sharpened blade, I will refashion, reshape, and rebirth this world. My obligation is immense, something that will, in all likelihood, consume my life. I cannot rest. My calling energizes me.
And so it begins. My ethereal veins now run with dark ambition. Let's turn that trickle into a torrent. Let's harvest ourselves a Grand Inquisitor. Just as Chevron's spirit chose to return to comfortable climes, Maligaro's essence once again dwells in his very own chamber of sins. Though I hasten to add that Maligaro's sins are not my sins. I prefer transgressions of a more natural order than does he. I'd carry you to Frisia if I could, yet I expended too much of myself when I snatched you from the jaws of Kitava. You will need to find your own path, as will I. Make the journey, and please survive it. We too have much work left to do.